Sister Halia from Qatar also had another question. Is it authentic to gather around and read Surah Yasin?
No, it is not authentic, nor is it recommended. As a matter of fact, it will be considered an act of innovation.
Okay.
Why? Why do we specify a certain surah on certain dates? Once again, relying on some either very weak references or even fabricated. I stated before, and I warned against, some books were compiled on the verses of the recitation of certain surahs. Those verses were put by people like us. They wanted to encourage people to read the Quran, because for some reason they were diverted from the recitation of Quran. They were busy with the sunnah. They were busy with seeking other knowledge. So these people have put together these ahadith in order to motivate and encourage the ummah to read the Quran, specifically certain surahs, verifying the ahadith which were quoted concerning Surah Yasin, who found them either very weak or do not even exist. Take for instance the hadith which says that Yasin, Surah Yasin is the heart of the Quran. I mean, I was born and raised, memorized this hadith as it is a hadith. I came to find out that no, it is not hadith, it's extremely weak hadith. People go and they would celebrate the Eids in the graveyard, reciting Surah Yasin for the dead people. Based on what? Based on hadith, it's called that it's narrated by Ma'qal ibn Yasar, that the Prophet ﷺ said, recite that surah on your dead people. Very weak hadith. Yet the companions used to do the following. If somebody, Yusuf, was dying, among the procedures of expediting the process of extracting the soul and making it easy, facilitating this process, is reminding the person with the shahada, talqeen, that if you are present next to somebody who's dying, you should remind him every once in a while, say, La ilaha illallah, Muhammadur Rasulullah. Why? Because the Prophet ﷺ said, whosoever's last statement will be, La ilaha illallah, Muhammadur Rasulullah, shall enter paradise. So this is a very virtuous act that you can do. Also, reciting Surah Yasin in the presence of the person who's experiencing death, on his deathbed, would facilitate the process of extracting the soul and would soothe the person at the time of his death. That leaves us at this station, that Yasin is a great surah, similar to the rest of the surahs of the Quran, 114 surahs. To specify a specific surah with some verses, who would have the power to do that? Only Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam. So if he did not say, then I would plug my ears and I would not hear any statement from anybody who would say that, but it's good to do it. I attended once, and there was a speaker in the States who was saying that if you recite Surah Yasin 70 times, Allah will fulfill your need. If you recite it 70 times, and you ask Allah to do whatever you want to do, Allah Almighty will make it easy and will fulfill your need. Then, he said immediately, I know that there is no such reference for that. The Prophet didn't say that. There is no sound evidence. But my Shaykh advised me with it, and I tried it, and it does work. Wow. Is this acceptable? Never. Right. Because in this condition, the hadith of Aisha, may Allah be pleased with her, would apply here. Whoever innovates in our deen, anything which does not belong to it, it will be rejected. Right. If I recite Surah Yasin, or Al-Baqarah, or Al-Waqi'ah, or Tabarak, and I ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for any virtue, for any good, or ask Him to protect me from any harm, that would be sufficient. But believing in a specific surah, that it would take somebody from poverty to prosperity, would heal somebody. There are so many ahadith with regards to Surah Yasin that if you recite it at night, Allah will give you the best of the night. If you recite it in the morning, Allah will give you the best of the day. Give me a reference that says, it doesn't mean that person or the sheikh is very fanatic or he's very harsh. No, we're trying to, look, if you feel ill and you want to go to a physician, you just don't go to any physician.
Of course.
If it is an asthma, you go to a pulmonologist. If it is a heart problem, you go to a cardiologist. If it is an intestinal tract problem, you go to, and so on. So everyone is specialized in a certain field. Have you ever heard of somebody who's sick and has a cancer and he goes to a mechanic shop?
I haven't.
It never happens.
Right.
But unfortunately, when it comes to our religious practices, we abandon what's sound, what's strong, which has sound references, what the Prophet ﷺ commanded, and then we rely on what? On the sayings of humans like us. Maybe they said it out of good intention. As the person who used to fabricate those hadith said, I realized that people were following the fiqh and the hadith and they have abandoned the Qur'an. So I wanted to bring them back to the recitation of the Qur'an, so I made up those hadith. So maybe he has a good intention, but this is not sufficient. We stated before, dear viewers, every Muslim, if you want your deed to be accepted, there are two conditions, are inseparable from each other. In order to have your deed be valid and accepted, number one, sincerity. Number two, it has to be in compliance with the Qur'an and with the sound sunnah.
Thank you, Shaykh.